Oh, that's a culture. It's right to encourage.
All right. All right. Welcome to our first live event here at Mason City Schools, and we are excited that you can join us today. We have so many things to go over, and we'll also be taking your questions. So as you have questions, and again, this is our first time, so thank you for your patience as we figure this out. But go ahead and submit your questions online, and we will begin to answer those as our time goes. First thing I want to do is I want to review some of the things that we've done with our Big Rock strategy. And thank you for raising your hand. I will get to that question in just a minute. That's a joke for all of those 18 people that are out there. Hopefully you get that. So here are the things that I want to review. First thing is with Big Rock One, when we look at culture, some of the things that we've been able to do is the teams in your buildings, and these are teacher teams, staff teams built together, and they've come together to put together what we are calling our version 1 of our culture guide. And some of the buildings have been able to see this, but because of the delays and the cancellations, I haven't been able to make it around to talk to all of you about this yet. So I want to go over some of this and what this is all about. The culture guide has all the pieces that we would consider our beliefs, the behaviors that we desire to see in our district, and the experience that we hope to create in our district. And I want to highlight one piece of the culture guide because it's really important that our language is aligned throughout our organization. So if you take a look in the culture guide, and I turn to this page here, and I'm not sure how well this will come out, but you'll be able to see this over time, and these are available for all of our staff now. But we have 3 areas in the belief section, and that is own the moment. And own the moment is the idea that we do the right thing, especially when it's hard. It's the idea that we're better today than yesterday, and we're better tomorrow than we are today. And then as we go down our culture guide, we have build meaningful relationships. Building meaningful relationships is the idea that we invest and we care in each other. It's the idea that we talk to people, not about people, and that we are stronger together. And then our third piece on here is your story matters. And we do believe that your story and that everybody's story matters in our community. And that it's believing in who you are and who you can become. Everyone feels valued in our community. So this is just something I want to highlight here. There's so much more information in the culture guide. So if you haven't had a chance to get your hands on this, we're excited for you to see this and give us feedback. Remember, this is something that's been built from our own staff, and it's the language that we believe in. So this language is something that we will hold on to and move forward into the incoming years to come. The training for some of this work is coming out in February and March. So when you have training, the professional learning training, that's coming out. You'll have staff members come out and talk to you more about how this connects to the other rock work that we're doing in the district. The second one is inclusive excellence. So to give a quick update on inclusive excellence, we are talking a lot with our inclusive excellence leadership team about the idea of how do we take this system, this E plus R equals O system, and we call it the R factor. How do we take this and how do we use inclusive excellence beliefs to move through this work? For example, when we have an event happen in the classroom, when we have something happen that is outside of what we believe in as a district, something that's not appropriate, whether it's a microaggression or something that's just hurtful to another student, how do we as staff respond to that? What is our response? And so we're blending Big Rock 1 and Big Rock 2 together, and we're trying to have those two. And that will come out in your training coming up soon. And our staff has worked diligently to make sure those two pieces work together to help us move forward as a district and responding with integrity to microaggressions and other things throughout our district that don't fit inside our beliefs. And then the third rock, as you know, is personalized learning. And we're so excited about the work that's happening with personalized learning. This year, our goal was to make sure that we have a clear definition of personalized learning, and the idea that we wanted to come up with 5 clear elements, those 5 clear elements of what personalized learning is. And we will go around to all of our buildings and share those as those become available in kind of a personalized learning guide. And so those pieces are going to come up soon, and you'll hear more about the 5 elements. Those 5 elements will guide our work in terms of instruction in the classroom over the next 8 to 10 years. And so we're really excited about the next iteration of what's going to happen in our classrooms, and focusing on our students and making sure that our students have opportunities to own the learning. And so really excited about those 5 elements and what's coming out with personalized learning. We're also excited to work with Allison Zmuda and her team of experts, and that's been just a lot of fun for us to grow together with her and other experts out there. Again, I'll remind you that we do have the opportunity for you to ask questions, and questions about anything that I've given you an update about today, whether it's with Big Rock 1, culture, Big Rock 2, inclusive excellence, or Big Rock 3, personalized learning. So go ahead and type your questions in, and those questions will come to me, and we'll do our best to address those and answer those questions. While you're doing that and you're thinking about questions you might ask, I do want to also do a quick advertisement for Centerpoint. Came out this month, and I think this is just recently coming out, maybe today or yesterday. But inside Centerpoint, on page 18, right in the middle of the Centerpoint, you will notice there is this section called Reimagine Learning. And one of the things that we take really serious at Mason City Schools is the feedback from our community, and this concept of crowdsourcing, and the idea that when we leverage the intelligence, the talent, and the creative ideas of our public and our community and our students and our staff together, we can reimagine big possibilities here at Mason. And so we have some dates coming up soon on this Reimagine series that you can show up in person and you can give your feedback, which will shape how we move forward as a district. So for example, on January 28th, which is coming up on Monday, you know, the day that's going to be about 70 degrees out, maybe 65, I don't know. But January 28th at 6 o'clock over at the high school in the large commons, we will be coming together to talk a little bit, I'm sorry, February 4th. Did I say January 28th? Yeah. That would be going back in time. So we can't do that. That's big thinking. February 4th, coming up on Monday, we're going to be talking about how do we make our big schools feel smaller, in the sense that how do we allow for opportunities for our staff and our students to connect and build those meaningful relationships. It's really important to us and really important to our community. So we're going to come together to talk about that. So you may have ideas that you've been thinking about of how to build that experience for your kids, and they feel more connected, your students, or even you as a staff member. And so we'd love to hear those ideas. So please bring those together on Monday.
We've got a question. Renee Medicating Course as a classroom teacher, what book or article do you think would be best for me to read as a way to start wrapping my ideas around personalized learning and vision? Oh, that's a great question. And I'm looking around my office because if my book is here, I will grab it. So if you see the Bold News book, I'll hold that up, and even that stack over there, if you grab that, I'll hold that up. But there's a book that we read as a district. The question was, is there a book that we could begin reading as a staff? Thank you very much. Or parents, even students, and what would that book be? So this book right here is one book that talks a lot about how to get your mind around what personalized learning really is. Because when I say personalized learning, some people will think of like Khan Academy or online programs, and that does not do justice to what we're talking about personalized learning. It's so much more about the student than it is about a platform or a program. So personalized learning is about the person, is about the student. So this right here is called Bold News for Schools. And I really encourage you to pick this up. We do have book studies launching soon. You could be a part of those book studies if you reach out to us, and we'd love to have you in that. So great place to start. Another resource that you might consider is Allison Zmuda, the expert that works with us. She has a great blog and a website, and it's called Learning Personalized, I believe is so if you Google Learning Personalized, you can go to her blog and you can see all kinds of the papers that she's already published, and it's a great place to go. So great question, and there's many more resources. Those are just two really quick ones that you can check out anytime. Another question that came up was, another book would be Students at the Center too. That's another great recommendation. We do have, starting tomorrow, remember tomorrow is February 1st, and that is kicking off Black History Month. So we do have all kinds of efforts that are happening throughout our buildings so that teachers and students will have experiences to celebrate and amplify Black History Month, and really excited about the work this year. And our Inclusive Excellence team has done a fabulous job of even supporting that work. And I will give a lot of credit even to our Diversity Council and our parents, and giving us just really
helpful feedback and thinking through how we do this well and supporting our students. So a new event that we have this year that you may or may not know about already is on February 11th. We will be coming together over at the high school. You'll come in the main doors, and it will be set up like a kind of like an art opening, and we will have some artwork on display celebrating Black History Month. We will also have a contest that's ongoing right now. So if you're interested and you would like to be a part of this art contest, you can actually submit art celebrating Black History Month tied to a quote that has inspired you. We started this back on Martin Luther King Day, and it will carry through to February 11th. And anybody that submits artwork that wants to be a part of that will get some recognition, but we will have an award for those selected as the winners of that. And then that evening on February 11th, we have a panel of local leaders to talk about their experience here in the Cincinnati region. And we're excited to hear leaders talk about their experience and share their story. So please join us, mark your calendar for February 11th. So I've given you 2 dates, February 4th and February 11th, 2 great opportunities to plug into community conversations and be a part of things that matter in our district. Another question, will we have time?
We're trying to get clarification.
Personalized, Lynn just said personalized learning.
Okay.
Okay, so a question is coming in about personalized learning. What is that question?
It's, will they have time during to work on personalized learning during some of the PL days? Personalized learning.
Yeah, good question. The question was, will we have time during our upcoming professional learning days to work on personalized learning and how that goes? And I would say that the main focus of the next couple professional learning days coming up soon, those days this year are dedicated to the Big Rock 1 culture and Big Rock 2 inclusive excellence, and how those 2 pieces will blend together. And so people are understanding really what this, and giving the time for people to understand the culture guide and the language of our culture and what's expected out of our culture so that we get that right. But if you're thinking big picture, that work, the inclusive excellence conversation and the culture guide, that work and that language will play out in how personalized learning plays out into our classroom. So the main focus is not personalized learning, but the main focus is that. However, as we look forward to the professional learning time this summer and moving forward, we've gone away from the big conference style this year. We've taken a break from the big conference style, the Mason Learning Series, and we have a plan, and it's not totally baked, so give us a little time to get that worked out. But the plan is that you would have time during that to really start to understand the elements of personalized learning. So we do want to give our staff time to wrestle with that, understand it, so they can begin to refine their practice to the next iteration of what personalized learning looks like in your classroom. Great question. Other questions that are coming up. What else do we have?
This is just for Liddy to connect to her building focus team also.
Yeah, so I would also encourage you, where can I learn more about personalized learning? That's another great question. I would encourage you to connect with your building focus team if you haven't had a chance to connect with them. The building focus team is a little further along in the pathway of understanding that, and so they can share some of the resources and some of the vision for where we're going to go next with that. Any questions out there about any new questions about any of our start times that I need to answer that have not been clarified in the email I sent out? If you haven't checked your email, there has been an email sent out that just gives some clarification around our start time. I want to highlight something while I have a second before the next question comes in, and that is our start time plan, the iteration into this third option that we just released today, and that's the option we're going to go forward with. It truly came about through collaboration with our teachers and our parents giving us feedback. And as we listened to our teachers and our parents' feedback, and as we read through all of our student feedback, we were able to make some tweaks to what we thought option 1 and option 2 would be, and coming up with this option 3. And we could not have done that without the feedback and just the support and the collaboration of high school teachers, for example, looking out for our early childhood teachers and trying to come up with a schedule at the high school that actually helped solve some of the concerns that were happening at MECC with the originally proposed time. So I just want to highlight that the power of our teachers and how they're caring for each other is really a true example of what this looks like played out. It's what our culture is all about, and so we're excited about that as well. Can we order some professional learning books for our buildings? Great question. I like how you're thinking. I think the answer is we are looking into those that join the book study. If you're a part of a book study, looking into getting some literature and some books out there to support you. So if you're part of the book study, that's something that we can definitely consider. So that's a great question, and we're all about giving books to people because books are our friends, and we love to build those libraries for you. What other questions do we have out there? Big Rock 3.
Will we have teachers reporting 40 minutes before start time?
Yeah, good question. So one of the questions just came up was, what time will the teacher day start? I love that question. It's a great question. I met with the principals today. The principals are actually looking at the schedules right now. They've been looking at them throughout the day because obviously the start time information is new to them as well. And they have ideas of how that will look, and I'll tell you what they're trying to do. So here's what a principal is trying to think about. Principals are trying to think about, what do I need to cover in terms of the duties just to keep our kids safe at the end of the day. They're looking at that, how much time that will take, and then they're trying to maximize one part of the day, either the before or after school time, so that teachers have the maximum amount of time to collaborate together, to connect together. So that's what principals are looking at. It'll probably look similar to something that you may have had before in terms of how much time is before your schedule or after. But someone asked, are there going to be 40 minutes before? And I hope so. I think that's something that the principals are looking at now. And they will come out to your building and they'll answer that question. I'm hoping maybe even next week. Great question. Any other questions about start time or Big Rock work that's going on in the district? Well, while you're thinking, because I always give think time and we want to honor our time, we have about 3 minutes left. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have about 3 minutes left. So if you do have any questions, please send those in. But I want to highlight a couple other things. We do have on February 4th, the Making Big Schools Feel Small. I've mentioned that. February 13th, the theme for February 13th, the Reimagine session, is hopes and dreams for Mason children. So imagine this. Imagine if I asked you, what are your hopes and dreams for our kiddos? What are your hopes and dreams for your own kids if they're going through Mason City Schools? And are we meeting that? Are we doing things in our district that are actually setting us up to set our kids up to meet their hopes and dreams? And so that's the conversation on February 13th at the high school that will come together. The community conversation on February 28th is profile of a Mason graduate. As we look towards graduation, what are the skills? What do we want to see all of our Mason graduates walk away with? So if empathy is something that's important to us as a district, how are we making sure that students are having opportunities to build empathy into their approach to learning, but also their approach to our community? March 4th is called Learning Partnerships. So Learning Partnerships really reach out to how are we partnering with the community and how are we partnering with businesses. So if you have ideas on that or even recommendations on what businesses we should be connecting with, that happens on March 4th. So please give us suggestions. And then April 16th is a really exciting one. The city and the school work together on, we've done Innovation Week before. So we're looking at as a collaborative that week of April 16th. And on April 16th, we'll have something called Mason Moonshots. So big ideas, things that might take us 10 years to tackle, but those big ideas that we would love to see Mason do as a community, not just a school system, but as a community, and tackle big ideas. So Mason Moonshots on April 16th. So those are the Reimagine sessions coming up. Another question came in. We are looking for artwork. Yes. So an announcement. We are looking for artwork on Black History Month for students and adults. So for example, the artwork does not need to be just from our students. I love that our students are going to get a chance to submit artwork, but I would really love for all of us as a community to submit artwork that has been inspired from Black History Month. And I think we have an email to send that to. And could you remind me of what that email is?
Black History.
Black History at Mason, OhioSchools.com. So the email address is blackhistory@MasonOhioSchools.com. You can send your artwork or a picture of it in through that, and then we'll be in contact with you. I know that I worked with a student to develop a picture, and we are submitting that as our piece of artwork. And I know there are many others that are doing the same thing. Final question. Final question. This is a good question. This is probably going to be one of the tougher. Well, there's two questions, I guess. This is a big question. It is, who will win, the Patriots or the Rams? Great question. You know, I'm a Colts fan. I've always been a Colts fan. And so I am cheering for those Rams. I am really cheering for those Rams. But if you're a Patriots fan, good for you. Enjoy that. But I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited about that. And I think it's now time to end our time. But I want to just really quick, I'm just taking a look here at my graphs and just studying the weather. Because, you know, as a superintendent and superintendent courses, they don't really tell you that you're going to become an expert in studying weather patterns, but you really do become that during the winter. So as I'm looking at this, it looks like probably our call for tomorrow will be